Okay, hello everyone. Sorry, my camera seems to be a bit dark. You probably can barely see me, but I'm here. Hopefully, you can hear me halfway decently. Also, my son's watching cartoons in the background, so you're gonna probably hear that too, which is fine. But as long as you can hear me somewhat in this video, that's what matters. Now, unfortunately, here in the Philippines for the coronavirus, every day a little bit, but surely they're getting more and more strict, which I understand to a certain extent. But I think that's just on a global scale, that each country is getting more strict about what you can and can't do. And in this video, in this live stream, I'm gonna try to give you as much information as I can in a short period of time, and leave it at that. So, um, in regards to that coronavirus here, at least in our city, I don't think there's a lot of cases. I think there's maybe just two or so. But at first, when it started out, they just closed the stores early, and so all the stores would close at a certain time. And then after that, it transitioned from all the stores closing at a certain time to a bunch of the stores just being shut down. For example, if you go in the mall, almost every store is closed. Now that was a slower process too. At first it was just a few stores that closed down, on their own, and then eventually the government just shut everything down except for like the grocery store. I'm thinking, I think you can go to Watson's too and get like medical stuff, like thermometers and all that type of stuff. But yeah, basically the mall is like a ghost town. I actually have some video footage of it. I don't know if I'll get a chance to upload it. I'm still very busy with work. Literally last night, I think I went to sleep at like 11 p.m. And that was just because I was so tired from working that I couldn't put in no more work. And I guess I'm one of the lucky ones. I work from home, so I'm not really as affected from a monetary standpoint in terms of this virus. I don't have to worry about not being able to make money, at least right now. But as long as this goes on, I think eventually it's going to affect people that work from home too, as businesses can't continue to operate if they don't have any revenues coming in or any customers. And I'm talking about that on a global scale, not just specifically to the Philippines. So, yeah, basically they went from a bunch of stores were open to slowly shutting some down to shutting all of them down. And then after that, they enacted the. Well, I think they enacted the. No, I'm sorry, they enacted the curfew for the stores to shut down before they started closing stores down, which is 7 p.m. At least for the mall. I don't know about for other stores, but for the mall, they close at 7 p.m. the last time that I checked. In addition to that, they also made it where before, you didn't have to wear a mask to enter into a store, but I think it's now, the rule where if you want to enter the store, you got to have a mask on. I saw one of my friends going to the mall, and I yelled at him. I was like, "Hey, you can't go in there. Go back home and get that mask." So he had to go back, but I stopped him from going all the way there, which would have been a long walk, only to have to turn around and go get him. Problem with that is there's a shortage of masks. So imagine, okay, we lost connection there for a little bit. Let me repeat that last statement. I saw my friend going into the mall, but I stopped him because he didn't have a mask. But imagine if, you don't have access to a mask because there's a shortage of masks to get. So if you got a family in the household that don't have a mask, you cannot go into the at least to the mall. I think all the stores are like that though now. You can't even go up in the store to shop. So you're probably gonna have to go to a supermarket. But just know, try to get you a mask if you want to be able to go into the mall. In addition to that, right after the making you have to wear a mask, they started this social distancing thing as well, where you got to be a certain distance away from everybody in the mall. You can't be a certain distance next to someone in line. That's one of the rules. When you go into the mall, they check your temperature, which I understand that, totally get it. They check your temperature before you go in and make sure you don't have a fever, and so on. So, and they spray your hands with alcohol before you go in. So, I'm sharing this information with you because I want to see if there's a parallel or correlation in other countries about what they're doing in terms of what they allow, what they don't allow. And if they're all doing the same thing, then it sounds like they're all coordinating on a global level. I think each country's talking to each other and saying, well, what's working for you, what's not working for you. I don't know. But that's another thing that they got in place. There was something else I wanted to add to that, but I forgot what it was. But yeah, the social distancing thing is definitely real. I mean, I've seen people with crazy level masks. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it shocked me to see it because it's not something you used to see. But they had like a industrial level mask with like the filter tanks on it, which I understand. You going home and you got people in your house that you don't want to get sick. If you feel it got to be at that level, then you do what you do to protect your family. But with these constraints, it's not even ending there. It goes further. The other problem you got is that now, from what I understand, they just put some more rules together, and I feel like this is not going to stop. Not for the Philippines and not for any other country. I feel like all the governments, and it's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but I feel like the government's going to keep on pushing it, keep on adding new things until it get to a point where people are going to be like, okay, we understand that this is a dangerous situation, but we got to have limitations and recognize that people have families and we all got to eat. But this new rule that they trying to enact, well, I wouldn't even say try that they from what I understand, they're going to start it tomorrow, where you got to have a pass. That yeah, you'll be back in school now. You got to have a pass just to go outside. Yes, you heard me right. You got to have a pass just to go outside. You can't go to the mall or the store without a pass, to be able to go out there. And from what I understand, they only want to allow one person from your household to be able to go outside. So imagine that you can only let one person go out, and they the only ones that can have that pass. At least that's my understanding. Now, if that's wrong, I will definitely make a new video and update this. But I see a big problem with that on one big level. We'll just put it on one big level. The problem that I see with that is this: people aren't working, and we don't know how long this quarantine is going to last. Let's say it lasts 6 months. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it seems that they're increasing the strictness every day, and they're making things a little bit more difficult for you. But imagine that people don't have work for many months, let's say 6 months, and let's assume that those people that are not working, that had jobs, don't have any income. My prediction, and I'm not saying it will happen, but I do believe that crime will probably increase at some point because people don't have the income coming in and they can't feed their families. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen in other countries. Maybe it can happen in the U.S. just as well. I think it would happen more likely in the U.S. than here, actually, because a lot of people here are used to not actually making a lot of income. But you know, I see that as a problem because if you got just one person going out and somebody decides to take advantage of that person that went out, you can't protect your family because they only allow one person to go out at a time. So if somebody did approach or attack one of your family members, what can you do? Because you can't go out there with them and ensure their safety. So for me, I think the thing with only letting one person go out is kind of not a good thing. I think it should be at least two people, so that if you're going out, you can at least look after the other person, that's going out. So that's one of the things that I think is important. But I think that this is going to continue. That they're going to keep adding new. This is my prediction. I think they're going to keep on adding more and more strict rules until it gets to a breaking point. And I'm talking about on a global scale, not just to the Philippines. I think every country is going to keep on seeing how far can they push, being more strict with this thing. And it's going to get to a point where people are going to get upset. And I think everybody's going to get upset after a while because when you start messing with the fact that, you only letting one person go out, and I think that's inclusive of people working. So if you got one person that's at home and one person that goes to work, and that person's at work because they got to have the pass, you might not be able to go out to go get food. See what I'm saying? You can't go out to get no water. So, and then you kind of stuck in this situation where, okay, well, how do you get food? Well, there's really only one option, and that's to use a delivery service, assuming that that delivery service will be available because it's probably going to be a surplus of people trying to use a delivery service to deliver food from a store or from a restaurant or whatever you're trying to order, from whatever store you're trying to order something from. So, and then you got a situation where not everybody can afford to do that every day. Not everybody have enough money to do that here. So they can't necessarily, order using the delivery service every day. But I don't know. I just see some problems with how things are set up, and it could cause some issues for some people. And I think as they get more and more strict and they keep writing new rules, I do understand that they're trying to stop us from being sick. I totally get it, but we gotta be within reason and make sure that if you're gonna put a rule forth, and I'm talking about all countries, not just the Philippines, if you're gonna put a rule forth, make sure that it's something that people can adapt to and still be able to take care of their families. Now, for me, it's not a huge impact, you know, because again, I work from home, so it's not affecting me on most levels. But the problem I have is that if you start restricting it to only one person going out, that could become a problem for me. It could create issues for my family. And I'm sure a lot of families, it could create issues if only one person can leave from your house. And I don't know how that is set up 100%. Again, I'll have to come back to this and let you know. But in general, our city seems to be doing pretty well. And some of you might say, well, maybe it's working because you only got like 2 cases. From what I understand, and it may be more at this time. I don't know. Last time I checked, it was like 2 cases. So, but yeah, that's what's going on here in the Philippines. It's not a good situation here, just like it ain't a good situation anywhere. But my suggestion to anybody out there that is watching this live stream or watching it after it's done, if you haven't went out today to go buy you some groceries, whatever you think you need, I think today is the day you better go out and get whatever you want or whatever you think you're gonna need for a while, because it don't look like they're gonna get less strict. If things, was gonna start falling back, they would start removing things, but instead they're adding new things to make it more strict. So if you see that there's a slow progression to them adding new things, then you need to be thinking about, well, what do I need in the next 3 or 4 months? Okay, and do I have enough to sustain myself for 3 or 4 months if they get more strict, where they say, okay, the stores aren't closing at 7 p.m. now, they're closing at 4 p.m. And, still got to have that pass, and you can't be in the store for longer than this amount of time. I don't know. I mean, they probably couldn't enforce the time limit on how long you're in the store, but if they close the stores earlier, right now I think we only have, I think, 2 grocery stores that are nearby. So that means that if any little thing happened in the operations of those 2 grocery stores, you're stuck with the supermarket, which I think is the last option you got available that's nearby. So, for me, it's kind of not a good situation because we're dependent on a very few businesses to sustain things, which is why I said if things are going to get more strict, I don't know what they're going to put forth next. It might be something that make things 10 times more difficult. So if today is the last day you can go out without a pass, you probably need to get anything, alcohol, if they have it available, because they sold out of that like everywhere. If they got a mask, try to get you a mask, because here's the problem. If you can't go out without a pass and then you also need a mask and you don't have those 2 things, that could create a problem for you. I wish there was other people in the Philippines making some information about this. And then the other problem you have is you don't know what stores are open. Here, when you look online, there's not like a directory or a list of stores that are open. When you check the Facebook pages of the stores, it says they're open, but if you go there, they're closed. So really, I think what they need is a directory of all the companies that are open. Give me 1 second. My son is saying something. What is it, son? Okay, it's okay. It's okay if it's dirty. I don't know what's going on with his cartoon, but something's dirty in his cartoon, and he wants me to know. But yeah, I think if anybody knows of a list of stores that are open, or that will give me a live update, hey, the stores is open or these the ones that's closed, that would be nice, because you got a limited amount of time you can be outside. And the worst thing you can do is go to a store and then find out it's not open. Then you got to go to another store and keep looking until you find one. And that's not a good thing. So I know there's more I could say in this video, but I'm not gonna make it too long because I gotta go get this pass or find out what I gotta do about this pass. And if I get information about it, I'll let you know what it is. I think it's some kind of card you gotta have, like an ID card that says you have a pass to basically be able to go outside. I mean, things are getting kind of crazy, y'all. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's kind of crazy. You gotta ask for a pass to go outside, you know, and take care of business. I understand putting the mask on, the social distancing, that all makes sense. But then when we limiting the number of people that can go outside, that's not going to really stop the situation, because if that one person who went outside gets infected and then they come back home, they're going to still spread it. So the implementation of that is not really stopping the issue. You hear what I'm saying? So I know somebody might have some logic to that, but for me, it don't make full sense, because even if there's less people out there, if a person is infected and they come back home, and you might be saying, well, there's less infected people out there, and maybe that does have an impact, So you could look at it from that angle. But for me, I think we need to, be careful that we don't make too many strict rules that we begin to erode people's families and cause them, some issues that could impact them significantly. So, I've been, making sure that I'm keeping up with these things, and if I don't know, people will tell me, because you'll find out, because they'll tell you, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. But I don't know what's coming next. My prediction is that, this internet thing right now that I'm talking to you on might not be available in a few months from now. Who knows? Because if people can't go to outside and they need a pass to work, and they limit it to one person per household, who's to say that that doesn't have an impact on the people going to work on, the items that allow the internet to run, which that would definitely impact me as well, because I work online. You get what I'm saying? So, um, this thing could definitely escalate further. We don't know, and with us not knowing, this is why I said, if you got time on your hand, matter of fact, it ain't about if you got time, make time today. Go out and buy whatever you think your family need before this pass situation kicks in, because we don't know how strict they're going to get with this pass situation. You know what I'm saying? They might next say, well, you can only go outside for this or that. You know, you may not be able to just even go around the different places when you go out. They might have a certain pass to say, well, you can only do this, and that. Another pass say you can only do this and that. I don't know. I'm thinking, man, like what else could they do that they haven't already done? That will make things more difficult for you. But I've been talking with foreigners, and I said I was supposed to end this, but I'm still talking. I've been talking with other foreigners, and we all agree, man, hey, things is getting crazy. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to see it. Going in and seeing all the stores closed, seeing the social distancing, going through that experience is it's definitely different. It's weird. Not something I totally get or understand. Never seen it in our lifetime. I know you haven't either. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, y'all. Who knows what's coming next? But we know it's only gonna get more strict, because that's what the pattern has been. And if you hold on, son, hold on. Okay, hold on one moment. That's just your string. Why you got that string anyway? But we just know it's gonna get more and more strict. That's what I think. That's my, and it's already been impacted because of the quarantine, and I think things can't even be shipped here, at least at this point. And I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. Don't quote me on that. But I think they cut their borders off for a certain period of time where nothing or anyone can come in. I know that no flights are coming in. I definitely understand that. I'm 100% sure about that. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I believe I'm 100% sure about that though. They're not allowing flights to come in. But yeah, I don't know, man. I want to talk more about this, but I don't know what to say right now. It's kind of crazy for me. But if they, like I said, if the internet gets messed up, and we've been having internet problems. It shut down for a whole day, on 2 occasions, and hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. But I don't see how any economy can thrive when you shut down like 80%. And I don't know what the percentage. Let's just say 80% are closed companies. What is it, son? The what? No, you don't need to get that out. You got plenty of toys there. Just play with the toys you got there. He wants to take out all his toys. I'm not gonna let him do that. But I don't see how any economy can thrive when and I know this is on a global scale. Again, this is not me picking at the Philippines. I know this is happening everywhere. But you can't expect the economy to survive or stay alive if you know you're not opening up businesses and people not going to work. I think what we're gonna have and I hate to say this, but if this thing continues to get more strict everywhere, not just here in the Philippines, but if it happens everywhere, I think we're gonna have a global crash, and that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. Because if you have a global crash, and every economy is in trouble, and no one's manufacturing or producing anything. No one's selling anything. No one's growing anything because they can't sell it enough of it. Because of the restrictions that give you certain time frames that you can't go out. Now the storylines are long, so people can't. Let's talk about it from a business standpoint. When you go into a store, every person is scanned one by one. So that means that um, the lines are longer. So not only is there a restriction on how long the store is open, but the lines take forever to get in. If you got a line of 100 people trying to get into the mall and they're scanning one by one, that's what happens at the mall. And I'm sure at every other store, it's one by one. It's only one person doing it. So people can't buy as quickly or as much because of the bottleneck in that process for the business, if that makes sense to you. So you got to think about that too. The restrictions impact the speed at which you can buy, which is another reason why I think today is the final day that you need to go out and heed my warning. Go out and buy you what you think you need, and don't feel bad if somebody else like, man, you buying too much. If you buying for your family and it fit in your cart, you all right, because they've designed that cart to fit your stuff in it. Now, if you can't fit all your stuff in the cart, then maybe you're gonna get some special looks. But if you can fit everything in the cart, which I've seen people fill their cart up before this epidemic. So, you go in there, you get what you need, protect your family, and do what you got to do. And that's what everybody should do. It's at the end of the day, you got to look after your family. So, if you haven't done that, I'm telling you, go do it now. Get off your butt. Don't just sit there, whether foreigner or local. Get up off your butt and go do it. Don't wait until they implement this pass, because you don't know what the rules are going to be fully for this pass. And so since you don't know that, get up, get it done. I'm not worried about it. I know I'll find a way to make this happen, but I'm speaking to the other people. I already have a plan. I don't know about you, but I got a plan to make sure that I'm gonna get to the store somehow, some way. Okay. But yeah, I just thought I'd share this with y'all because ain't nobody, really here talking about it. I don't think, at least not on YouTube. I know in the US and other countries people talking about it, but in the Philippines, I don't think, at least I haven't seen any videos, and maybe they're just not popping up in my feed. But you need to get some things done. And I'm not talking about just going out and buying food and water, which is important, but you should get any supplies you think are important, like for emergencies, medications you think you might need, um, medical supplies that you think you might need. Even if you don't need it, just get it just in case, just to be sure. Get the things that you think will keep you from getting the flu as well. Like stock up on that mess. Because if you can't go out as frequently and it's a lot more difficult, at least you got the stuff to keep your family from getting sick. You want to stop this thing from spreading. Get you you need to eat healthy. That's going to be important to keep your immune system strong. So make sure you're eating a lot of greens. That's very, very important. Don't just be eating a bunch of junk food. Although you can stock up on that stuff in case, maybe you running low on food at some point, you got a snack to back up on. That's okay. But don't make it your primary food. But in addition to, eating a bunch of greens, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, that type of thing. And just take care of your body. Make sure you're getting some sunlight. I know we can't go outside, but here's the side effect. If you're stuck in the house all day, guess what happens? Your vitamin D levels deplete. And if you're not familiar with that, when your vitamin D level is low, guess what? That impacts your immune system. So if you want to fight off this flu, or coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, I don't know the exact name outside of coronavirus. There may be other names for it, but we'll just call it what it is, coronavirus. If you want to have a strong immune system, you need sunlight, a natural way to get vitamin D. And if you're not getting outside, I think you need to do one or two things. You need to do some research on pills for vitamin D and see what the impacts of it is. I'm not telling you to take that because I don't know anything about it. I don't take vitamin D because I'm in the tropics, so I figure I can always get outside in the sun, but that's changing. So if you can't get outside and get vitamin D, at least open up your window, because you can't get no vitamin D when your window's closed. When your window's closed, vitamin D is not going to happen. Okay, the window blocks you from being able to produce that. It doesn't let through the rays that need to get through for you to get vitamin D. So if you're in the house and you think you're getting it just because you're sitting by the window, like, that don't mean it. You need to make sure you open the window up and let the sunlight hit your skin so it can produce the vitamin D. And that helps with your immune system. I think you need calcium too. That's very important. So I think the calcium, to the best of my knowledge, I think it works with the vitamin D last time I checked. So look into that. Look it up online if you haven't read on that. But get you some calcium. If it is directly correlated, which I believe it is, and that should help with your immune system, or eat foods at least with calcium, whichever you decide to do. Make sure it's safe, whatever approach you take. But yeah, man, I've been making soups for my son and just jam packing it with all kind of greens and making him eat that healthy stuff. And also a remedy that you could do too, like if your kids got cough, as my son had cough at one point, but he doesn't. He hasn't had that for a long while now. But I gave him like a half a cup of water with, I think the first time it said 2 tablespoons of honey, but that was too much. I didn't do that again. It was super sweet. Yeah, I know the honey's good for you. It's antibacterial and all that, and it helps with cough and all that. But the second time I made it, I reduced it to 3 teaspoons of honey and a half a cup of water. So half a cup of water, 3 teaspoons of honey, and a tablespoon of lemon, and that can help with coughs and stuff. And it's an alkaline like water, from what I was told by a friend, and I've tested it. It does help with if your child got cough. So just thinking of remedies that you can make at home with what you even got right now. If your children are sick, I mean, I think that'll help. Looking up remedies to keep you healthy. I always look up natural remedies because I don't want to be taking any kind of chemicals, especially right now. Like, you need your body to be at 110%. So try that remedy out. If your kids got cough, you got cough, try some water with lemon and honey. You can even add some ginger. I heard that's beneficial too. Maybe not too much because you don't want it to burn when your kids drink it, but maybe add a little bit of ginger. But I'm just trying to think of what all I can share with you guys, because I got a family, and if someone had knowledge, I would want them to share it, which is why I hope that more people go online and talk about this. So if you got a family and you know some remedies that can boost your immune system, definitely link it out. I don't mind. Just put a link in my video. I don't care. Like, the more that we share and coordinate with each other, the better. And if you know something that I don't know, and I know something that you don't know, and we share with each other and we benefit each other, then that would be helpful. Even coming up with strategies to overcome the situation. So right now, if they keep getting more and more strict, what can we do as a collective of people? I'm not just talking about one family, but everybody work together to work around this strictness. So let's say we know that, okay, they enact this rule. What can we do as a group of people in the Philippines to make each other's lives easier? What kind of services can we put together to coordinate to work around the situation? So we need to be thinking and planning. Okay, well, if we know they're getting more strict, what can we do to coordinate as a group to make it work for everybody? We got to stick together because it's not getting no easier. So if you come up with an idea, talk about it on YouTube. Like, I got this idea, this surface that will overcome this issue with dealing with the past. If you do this, everybody can still have the same experience while still adhering to the past guidelines. Just thinking up things, brainstorming, because if it keeps getting more difficult, we need to come up with ways to strategize around it within the rules, of course, that will still allow us to function and keep things moving without impacting our families too much. Because I think we're getting to a point where we got to stick together. Everyone is getting to that point, because I'm seeing the rules get more and more strict, and I don't want to be the one to bring negative news, but if it get too strict, man, ask yourself, are you going to be able to overcome that and cope with the situation? So I don't know. I've been ignoring this for a long time. I held back on making this video because I wanted to sit back and see what would happen. Now, if I would have just got online and just made this video on coronavirus, none of these things would have had happened yet. But by looking at the progression of everything and analyzing it and seeing where things are going, I came to this video with a better understanding and a better approach of how to talk about the situation, and making sure that I give you insight that's beneficial, putting the whole picture together, of the situation. But I don't know how long this can last. I love to hear your comments How many people think that somebody can go out without work for 6 months? I don't know. I know in America they say that most people don't even have $500 in savings, so that ain't enough to last you barely a month. It ain't gonna even last you a month. Let's just be honest. In most of the cities and states in America, you ain't making it longer than a month on $500. $500 ain't gonna get you far. And in connection with these restraints on the economy, imagine what impacts it could have on the value of your currency. See, we're not just talking about a situation of scarcity of food and water and supplies. We're also talking about a situation where if people don't work and the economy keeps going under and under and under, your money and its value could go down, down, and down. And if you don't believe me, pay attention. If you don't think your currency gonna be affected after a while because the economy's not running right, you know, and as money get more scarce and food supplies get more scarce and water gets more scarce, as a resource becomes more scarce, there's the marketplace says that it has a higher cost. And I know they have this thing against price gouging, and that's one thing. But we also got to talk about the markets. And the market will have a rate that will eventually go up, even if it's not considered price gouging. Because here's the thing, they only have a limited number of supplies, so the businesses are going to raise it somewhat, probably, unless the government puts a strong hand down on that. But even if it does and things run out because no one's manufacturing or producing or even importing things here, eventually there's going to come a break point. The less and less people that can go outside. But let me end my rant. I don't even know if you call it a rant, but please share with me. I'm trying to get smarter. I'm just sharing with you what I know, and I could be wrong about certain things. Don't listen to my video and assume that I know everything and that I got it all right. I don't know. Nobody really knows. This is a new experience. I'm just talking about how I feel about it. It doesn't mean that how I feel is right. It's just how I feel. But if you got any insight, any wisdom of things that you think we should do that will make this thing easy for us or simplify our lives for every family, leave it in the comment section. Tell me about it. I'll read through your comments so I can get smarter and brighter, and so other people can get brighter and smarter. And just leave your comments because we're gonna have to get smarter. I'm gonna already say that because if it continues on this progression, you're gonna have to get smarter. You're gonna have to adapt and get used to the situations that you're dealing with and trying to overcome them. But let me go because I'm getting messages from my client and I got other things I got to finish up. So let me end this. But I just want to take a little bit of time out of my day, share this with everyone. Maybe everyone's not aware of all these things that are going on here, and you're here and you're living oblivious. Wake up, get from up under the rock, and wake up, smell the coffee, and get out there and make sure you get in that store and buy what you need to keep you and your family all right. Especially if you got kids, make sure you got plenty of food for your kids, for your dog too, for your cat. If you got animals, you have to stack up. And also, I was told, well, not told. What I saw in one video was that said the most important thing for you to have is a lot of water. So you can't survive on a lack of water for more, I think they said 3 days or something in the video. So for 3 days, that's as long as you can go without water. So make sure you always got plenty of water because you don't know how more strict. And I don't want to be the negative person. I don't want to think that this is gonna get worse, but it's going down more and more strict. Make sure you got plenty of water. To drink for a long while because you don't know how long this. I would say try to get you if you can. And I know we all got our unique situations. Everybody got a budget. Everybody got size constraints of the space that they have. I know, I understand, but try to get as much water as you can. Before things get more strict and it becomes more difficult for you. Water is the most important thing that you can have in this situation, especially if it's true that you can only survive for 3 days on water. Stock up on water. Get you plenty of water so that you can be all right. Okay, I'm telling you this out of love and care and respect. If I knew this information, if I was somebody else knew the information, I would hope they would share it with me so that I could be prepared. I think it would be even important to get you a pair of sandals if you could still get them. See, the thing, I can't even get a pair of sandals really, except maybe I might be able to find a pair at the grocery. I don't know, but there's only a few stores that you can get that from because most of the stores that I would have bought sandals from, at least I can't buy them from there. So if you can still get you a pair of sandals or some extra clothes, Get you some extra clothes. You never know. You might need some extra clothes. Just get you whatever you need. Get you some, whatever you think you need. I think an important thing you could get, and I know I said I was going to end this video, but I just want to make sure I share as much as I can. I do want you guys to be prepared. So I'm going to have to make time today. Work is important, but I need to talk about these things. So, one of the things I was thinking about is if people aren't working and they can't repair or keep up with the maintenance of the electrical system. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying the government's going to restrict them from doing it. But let's say that it did get to that point. Things got so bad that, they can barely maintain it, or people aren't able to go to work because this virus thing got out of control. So now they're restricting how often or people can go to fix on the electrical grid thing. And that could happen. You might not think it will happen, but it could happen. So in a situation where that happens, where you have a limited amount of time with power, get you some power banks, maybe to charge your phone, get you a USB portable fan if you can still find one, so you can have air, when the power goes off or goes down. A nice thing to have, which I know everybody ain't got the budget, but to have like a solar generator, which they don't really sell those here from what I understand, but you could get, like the ones that are portable, I should say. They do have the household ones. But get you whatever you think will help bring you and your family comfort. I think a fan is nice because if the power goes out, it's hot here. At least you can put air on your children so they don't sweat too much in the heat. Because you're stuck in the house. You can't go outside. So if the sun is facing you like it's facing me right now, and you ain't got no fan, and you're stuck in the house, even if you open the door up, it could be pretty intense heat. This depends on the day. Get you a little USB portable fan that you can charge at your power bank. So when the power's on, you charge all your devices, and you got at least a fan that will run indefinitely on a low speed for, well, I won't say indefinitely, but for maybe 8 hours. Maybe it'll run for 8 hours on the lower speed. At least you got some air to keep you and your family cool. And if the power goes out, you can't cook. So think about that as well when you get in groceries. Maybe get you some foods that are non-perishable and don't require cooking. And that way you can still eat something if the power goes out or you can't cook. You might be able to order things, but if the electrical grid is messed up or is slowed down in terms of maintenance, then even ordering food could become a difficult process. If you're ordering from a restaurant. Matter of fact, you can't even sit down in a restaurant. The rule is now if you do go out, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with that rule, but I know at least right now, I'm talking about in relationship to this past thing, but as of right now, you can't even sit down in a restaurant. If a restaurant is open, you go in and you get your food and you take it out. You can't sit down. I went to Starbucks, went in, and all the chairs was stacked up, and we just looked in there and was like, what's going on? Because I never seen nothing like that before. And when I walked out, I was like, man, that's crazy. You can't even sit down in a restaurant now? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, welcome to this new situation that we got globally. I don't know, even honestly, I don't even know how to plan beyond what I've already done. I would say if you can, try to get you some food, grow your own food in your own garden if you got the space. And I know everybody don't have the space for that. But if you don't have the space, if you got just even a tiny space to put a pot or two, I try to grow herbs and that kind of thing. But if you got a space for a pot to grow food, do that, and try to grow different foods. And maybe you and your community can grow different types of food, and then you all share the different types of food you have. Because if one person's doing just growing food, it's no good. Can't survive on just one food item or just 2 or 3 food items very well. So if everyone's growing different food and we share that food with each other, then you don't have to go out. Then this whole past thing don't matter. You can just share food with one another, assuming that everybody's taking precautions to make sure we're safe. Then grow your own food in your own area, and share food with each other. So let me go. I know I said I'm gonna go like 1,000 times, but I never do go. But I'm gonna head out. Please leave comments of what are you doing to prepare for this thing. And so, because I want to analyze that data, that information of what different people are doing or what you've been done. Maybe you prepared way ahead of schedule. You're like, man, I saw this thing coming like 6 to 8 months ago. And maybe you way ahead of everybody. What did you do, to prepare for you and your family so we can learn from your experiences and we can all adjust and adapt. Because I believe that's what we're going to have to do for the rest of 2020. I don't think this is something that's going to end by the year 2020. I don't see it ending until the end of the year, maybe if we're lucky. But I don't want to be negative. Maybe it could end sooner. But do you got a plan? That's a big question I'm gonna ask. Then I'm gonna end this stream for real. If do you think you got enough to survive to the end of the year? And the answer is no. You might be in a bad situation. That's just my advice. Think about that question. And it's almost impossible for probably most people to prepare like that. But if you don't have enough to do that, and things get more and more strict and they get more difficult, they could create problems for you. I'm not saying you're not going to make it to the end of the year. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you're going to have problems, and we all gonna have problems. I mean, I don't know nobody that's gonna probably stack up and have enough for the end of the year. It's gonna be really difficult. But we all need to be thinking about it and saying, man, what do we need to do to try to at least adapt and get through it, get through the whole year. I'm just trying to get through 2020 like everybody else. I didn't see this coming. No one saw it probably coming. So, all right, I'm gonna keep my promise. I said I'm gonna shut it down. So here we go. Y'all have a safe and blessed day, and stay tuned on Michael's vlog.